Hey everyone, welcome to the channel and to another collective reading. I hope you're all doing well. So I do have a channeled message. This is something I've been meaning to speak on for a few days now. But what I got was this. For several people in my community, this is going to apply to, okay? And I know it does. I can feel it. So when you were a child, there were certain things that you were saying. There were certain traits you were exhibiting. There were certain abilities that you were demonstrating, and it had people around you feeling very uncomfortable, to the point where in some cases certain people in your family and in your community started to fear you, but they never wanted you to know this, okay? And that's because they were trying to suppress you and have you behave in the same way as many other children, okay, or what they believe many other children behave like, right? And that's because you were extremely gifted, okay? You were able to see things, do things, express things that even people as adults struggle to do, see, express, right? Understand. There were things that you were coming out with that shocked the adults around you, and so they couldn't understand how you were able to vocalize certain things, how you were able to understand very complex ideas, where these questions that you would frequently ask came from, how you seem to have a very deep and ingrained understanding of the earth, the people around you, the environment, animals, right? The universe even, right? Yeah. There was also things that perhaps you were seeing consciously, unconsciously in the dream state, okay? Very symbolic. You may have been able to tap into certain extrasensory abilities from day one. And this is not something your family understood. They thought that there was something wrong with you, that you must be ill, or they knew that you were gifted and it wasn't a case of that, but they simply feared the fact that you had these gifts, right? They feared that, you know, this would somehow bring about some kind of negative consequences, possibly due to religious dogma or just the sheer fact that they were scared of these things themselves, okay? So if that sounds familiar, this reading is for you. So we're going to just jump into that and pull more information that can help you as to what was really going on and what some of those things were that struck a chord in people and what you need to know about that. So tell me more about this, please. Bastet passion, yeah. You may have had a very good connection with cats, okay? You may have found that cats always gravitated towards you as a child. Yeah, you may have even had cats as your favorite animal. Lions, tigers, right? You may have been fascinated with them in some capacity. You may have even had connections with those types of animals when you visited them, perhaps at like a safari, a zoo, you know, some kind of conservation, right? But I feel like you may resonate with Bastet's energy a lot. Sekhmet, possibly as well. Yeah. But there's something about who you are that's like very interconnected with certain traits that cats exhibit, you know, and cat goddesses in particular. Yeah. So tell me more. What did I say about Sekhmet? That's hilarious, right? Confirmation. So this is definitely for a group that resonate with Bastet and Sekhmet energy. Yeah. So very much lion and lionesses, right? And I feel like it's because you do have a very deep, ingrained sense of right and wrong, what's just, okay? You may feel like, you know, even if something terrible has happened to another, you take it very personally because you have that so ingrained into your being. Like you want to see people treated fairly. You want to see animals treated fairly, right? You can't stand to see injustice. That's something that's always been a part of you since day one, right? You've always been very passionate about speaking up about injustices that take place in the world. You may have certain causes that you've rallied behind, right? You may have been very passionate about protecting yourself, your home, your loved ones. That's something that you do fiercely, right? You're not afraid to take a stand for these things. You're not afraid to go to war for that which you hold dearest to you, right? Where there is a need or a call for it, you will pick up the sword, right? But generally, you're an extremely loving, supportive person, right? You prefer to, you know, be of love and peace and not bloodshed and war. But when the time calls for it, when there is a need, you'll take up the sword, right? That's what I'm getting. Because you believe very strongly in what is just. Yeah. So that's the thing. I feel like these are like archetypal energies that are very strong and have been very prevalent in your life. So when you have experienced injustices, you do take it personally. Because you feel like these things need to be course corrected. These things need to be balanced out karmically, right? You know, I feel like you're someone who came into this plane without even being taught it, fully aware of universal law, and being like almost like a gatekeeper for that. It's that kind of energy. And that's why you have, I think, growing up, witnessed a lot of injustices in different shapes and forms. And like I said, not just that what's happened to you personally, but what you've seen others go through, right? And you do take offense to it. Yeah. Because I feel like that's something that's fundamental to your role, okay? Yeah. So these energies are going to be very significant guides for you. Yeah, look, right? We even have both wholeness. I'm definitely taking that because it's definitely significant. You know, Thoth was a divine messenger, a teacher, a guide, right? Teaching the Hermetic principles, understandings of the universe, universal laws, right? Our connection with the divine, with source, with one another, how things really work, right? How our reality is really shaped, right? And what we need to understand in order to evolve to our highest potential. Yeah. So you, like I said, these are things that were literally inbuilt, imprinted in you before you even actually physically showed up in the world, right? These are things that were like encoded into your DNA as you were forming in the womb. Because this is what you represent. You are a messenger to the divine, right? In some shape or form. And like I say, you don't have to have an online platform. You don't have to have a physical platform to be a messenger. Your message reaches those who you interact with. Yeah. Because, like I said, you were given like divine wisdom without anyone having to speak a word of it to you directly. This came literally from the divine to you at the point of your inception, basically, right? When you were created. Yeah. So you are very powerful and you are very connected to the divine. There's very strong warrior energy, very strong protector energy, very strong guide, messenger energy. Yeah. Help go, you know, passing on those teachings from the divine. Yeah. And that's the thing, despite whatever adversities you face with this Knum energy here, it's like you're always able to take the good from the bad and use it to further elevate yourself, build yourself up. You take every experience on board, right? And that's what you were meant to do, because in order to be able to do this work, to teach, to guide, right? To protect, to defend, to be a symbol of justice, right? A symbol of balance, peace, harmony, right? You need to experience both sides of the coin, right? You need to see, you know, the positives and the negatives. And you need to be able to understand how you can still take something that's seemingly negative and use it to rise above, you know, to rise to the occasion. Yeah. But you already had these skills within you, okay? And I feel like you've had divine beings guiding you since you were born. Yeah, watching over you very protectively, right? With a very protective and watchful eye, yeah. Especially when it comes to like Bastet and Sekhmet energy. Because I'm telling you, you're like some kind of messenger, but you're also like the keeper of the peace and like helping to reestablish order here on earth, right? Because things have become very, very chaotic and imbalanced, right? Yes, there's always going to be a level of imbalance because matter literally exists as a result of imbalance in the universe. But I just mean in the fact that, you know, two opposing forces, you know, when there's in some kind of harmony, when there's some kind of balance between the two, then it's easier for us as a collective to, you know, expand. But when things are so out of whack, right, so imbalanced, then that's when you get to see a lot of what we're experiencing on a global level today. There's a lot of destruction, a lot of carnage. There's a lot of injustice, right? A lot of things need to be made right. And so that's what's happening. So the universe literally sent in the cavalry in the form of divine beings, right? To help establish the new status quo. Yeah. So tell me more. Yeah. We have the Sun, Leo energy, Death card, Scorpio, Taurus, the Hierophant. Seven of Pentacles. And the Hermit, Virgo energy, with the Seven of Wands. 777 is going to be highly significant as well. Yeah. So this is about conscious awareness, okay? Like divine children being incarnated at this time in order to help lift the consciousness of humanity, right? Helping to bring an end to establishments, corporations, societal norms, certain positions of authority and power that are built upon the backs of those who are innocent and, you know, built upon suffering and corruption. A lot of that is being dealt with directly by the divine. But your role here is to help awaken and to help raise the frequency, to help raise the vibration, right? Help people to connect to source energy, right? Like you are a messenger for them, right? Yeah. Hence the Hierophant being here. This Thoth energy. It's like you are embodying the energy of Thoth. You are embodying the energy of Sekhmet. You are embodying the energy of Bastet, Khnum, when you need to. Because you are a multifaceted being, right? So you don't just wear one hat. But primarily, your job is that of a guide, that of a teacher, that of a mentor, that of a messenger. Yeah. You are the embodiment of the message. Yeah. And that's the thing. I feel like your value was actually never under question. Okay. People knew your value, but it was imperative that you didn't see it. Because you were literally brought in as a means of creating permanent endings to the order of things that have become corrupted. Yeah. And so those who are on top and benefit from that corruption and benefit from things being so far away from what they should be, then of course they're going to play their hand also, right? So it was really not a case of determining the value of you and your message, but determining what to do with you so that you can be prevented, blocked, halted, stopped from doing the work you were sent to do. Yeah. And that's why you had people try to gamble with you, right? Gamble with your life, gamble with your health, gamble with your well-being, gamble with your opportunities, gamble with your stability, right? But all the whilst you go through these challenges and hurdles and hardships, you're learning. You're growing, you're expanding, okay? You're going even deeper into oneself. You're asking those important questions. You're making the important links and connections, right? So you took it on, like, you essentially used it in the way that the divine hoped you would. And yeah, of course, there's times you're going to fall off your path here and there. It happens, right? But again, that's part of the experiences. That's also part of the lesson, the teachings, right? By having those experiences where you deviate from your path and go off and do other things, you learn from those experiences as well. You get to see things up close about what is really going on in the world, what people are really doing, how people are really establishing themselves, right? How this reality is actually operating, how society truly functions, right? How these institutes have actually been built. And not what the PR material is saying, right? Yeah. So you've learned a lot. So you're also very much a sage here. Yeah. And I feel like because of everything that you've come to understand, all of the lessons you've been through, the dark night of the souls, the initiations, right? The various levels of awakening, you are far better equipped, right, to keep these energies out. The ones that are trying to stop you, the ones that are trying to, essentially use you for their own means, for their own selfish gains, right? Trying to limit your success, limit your stability, or affect it entirely, right? Trying to predetermine how things play out in your life. Yeah. You are more than equipped now to handle these types of energies because you have the experience. And some of those are the people that you grew up with, like I said. And the thing is, you're going to understand that some of the people that were doing this, it wasn't because they didn't see your value, right? With the King of Pentacles, Taurus energy. It's not that they didn't see your value. They absolutely did, like I said. But they felt threatened by it. So they wanted you to feel like you were less than, so that they had control over you. But when they realized that they had no control over you, that's when the attacks started to ramp up. That's what I really feel. But ultimately, you are a gift to this world. You are a blessing to this world. You have no idea whose life you could go on to enrich as a result of your gifts, as a result of your message, as a result of your purpose here. And I feel like you are going to be successful. I feel like you are going to have stability. I feel like you are going to be in a position where you can even help others, right? Who are less fortunate, right? Who have experienced some injustice in some shape or form. You will have the means to help them get back on their feet in some shape or form. Doesn't always have to be financially either. It can literally just be with the wisdom you give, the knowledge that you give, the support, right? Pointing them in the right direction. Yeah. But the thing is, as much as this was destined for you, right? You had to choose it because free will is still at play, right? The divine will nudge you as much as they need to. They'll give you as many signs they need to. They'll create as many towers as they need to until you realize that you're on the wrong path. But ultimately, they can't force you to make that choice, right? They can only show you what an alternative choice would lead to. But it's up to you to choose it, right? And I feel like you have, especially now that confusion has been cleared when it comes to why you were always the odd one out, why you were always treated differently, why you may have even been ostracized to some degree, or you never got the same treatment as others in your family, in your friendship groups, in your community. And again, that's because of what you represent. Yeah. But the thing is, you are going to connect with other divine beings, at least another divine being, if you haven't already. that has also experienced that to some degree. Maybe not in the same ways, right? But they have also felt that, you know, they had been treated differently because of who they are and what they're aware of, what they know, what is innate to them, right? Because of their own abilities, yeah. And simply anyone that has left your life because of who you are is because they were not meant to be a part of your journey. Not from that point moving forward. There are some people that did undervalue you, but that's largely because they don't value themselves, right? How can someone who doesn't recognize value within themselves and things around them in general recognize your value? They can't, right? There are certain partners you've had in the past that didn't want to give you what you deserve. But in a lot of cases, it's because they didn't feel like they had enough, or they were good enough, or they could meet your expectations or standards. They didn't feel like they were on your level, right? These were people that were in Five of Pentacles mentality. Doesn't matter how much money they had or what security they had financially. This is the mentality. They felt impoverished, right? So they didn't give you what you deserved. In some cases, they gave you nothing at all. But that didn't subtract any value from you. It just shows that they were not worthy to be with you at that time. They hadn't proven themselves to be worthy of an empress, of an emperor. But there's someone who is. And that time is coming. Either you're already with this person, you've met this person, or you will. Because bearing in mind, it's on, you know, everyone's on different timelines. So if you hadn't met this person yet, you will. Okay? And there's going to be others that see how much value you actually bring to the table, right? And how courageous and strong you really are, how brave you are, how you're able to, you know, silence the loudest mouths in the room just by showing up in your energy, right? In goddess energy, godlike energy, in Sekhmet Bastet energy, because you're a leader, right? So I feel like you have an ability to essentially put people in their place, and not in a harsh or nasty way, but simply with the truth and with speaking from a place of what's right and just. Yeah. And you've always had that ability. You've always had the ability to call people out on their BS. You've always took a stand for what you feel is right. And of course, people consider you a threat that have bad intentions, right? So anything else the collective needs to know before we close this reading? Four of Cups. Queen of Cups, Cancerian energy. Ten of Wands. The World card. And the Nine of Wands. Four of Wands. Yeah. So that's the thing. I feel like, you know, for a while, for a period of time, you may have been very dissatisfied in a lot of your connections with people, friendships, relationships, family dynamics, because you felt like people didn't understand you, right? They didn't understand you because you operate on a different frequency. It's not that, you know, you're so much higher and mightier and better than. No, it's just that you operate from this very passionate, loving, supportive, caring place, right? Like, it's so deeply ingrained into you are. It's about, like, you know, you want to do right by people, do right by yourself. You want to be loving, you want to be kind, you want to be open, you want to be supportive. But because you didn't get that, you didn't feel like you could always be that, right? Now you're wise as to how you know, interact with people, but ultimately you are who you are. You are a loving being. right? You are very tapped in, very intuitive. You have a very caring nature to you. You could be a mother, a father. You could be in the future. And even not, I feel like you've just got that nature about you where people feel like it's safe to come to you with their problems, when they're feeling low, when they're not feeling their best, when they're struggling, right? People feel like you're easy to talk to on that level. People feel like they can confide in you, and you don't judge them for that. You support them, you help them, you heal them. Just with your presence, just with your comfort, your support and understanding. Yeah. And I think a lot of you, it's like, because you have been through so much hardships, because you have been oppressed, because you have had people trying to knock you off your pedestal, trying to destroy your foundations. You know what it's like. You don't want others to feel like that, you know? So you are very willing to support where you can. But I feel like what you don't know is that you have a big role to play with the World card. I feel like the time of your hardships, your difficulties, challenges, right? Not getting what you deserve, that's coming to a swift end, right? Yeah. And you're going to be in a position where you're going to be guiding, teaching, and leading and supporting a whole bunch of people. Yeah. You know? Because I feel like even when you have faced adversity, you know, some very hard situations where perhaps you've been under attack or your life has even been in danger, right? Despite whatever fears or, doubts or whether or not you could overcome it has surfaced, you faced it head on, bravely. Even when you've already dealt with so much, even when you're already wounded from other situations, when you were faced with the worst of the worst, you still rose to the occasion. Yeah, especially when it comes to protecting you and your loved ones. Yeah. 3 of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands. But I feel like your time is fast approaching for you having like a true sense of support, right? Yeah. Real support in the form of family, in the form of, teamwork. Working together as a unit for a better goal, right? To establish something new, a better way of doing things, right? A fresh start, a new beginning. After having to make so many sacrifices, right? Having to let go of those who have caused you harm, that have meant you harm. Having to look at it from a bigger perspective, right? That it's all served you to becoming the person you were meant to be. A guide, a healer, a teacher. Yeah. A conduit. So, very, very powerful. So I hope this helps whoever needed this message. Thank you so much for checking it out. If you found it useful, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Click the notifications bell and click all so you don't miss any of your upcoming readings. But for now, I'm wishing you guys all the best, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.